What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Red Dirt University podcast. David Daniels here with Odis P in the house, the legend. How's it going, man?
Doing pretty good.
Good,
Can't
good.
complain.
You staying sane through all of this craziness in the world?
Yeah, I've been keeping myself busy with a few side projects and building doing some finished carpentry and stuff like that. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's got to be a lot more relaxing for you guys, not because I'm sure your schedule before all this was just stupidly insane. So this has got to be like a vacation, huh?
A little bit. It's a little nerve-wracking just going from being so busy to having nothing.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we've had 3 shows since March.
Yeah.
You know, which on one hand is fantastic because
yeah,
we've never had this much downtime to write and focus on records and stuff like that. So
right.
There's new music coming from the Koe side, and hopefully once we get that done and released, then I'll have time to go do some of my own. So
absolutely awesome, man. Yeah, I was talking to what y'all have played with Colby Cooper a good bit.
Yeah.
Colby's bass player Elon came and played bass on my single, and great guy. I don't know if you got to hang out with him much, but love him to death. Yeah, but he was telling me, he's like, they're able to place a few like private gigs and stuff like that, but I didn't even think about that for y'all. Y'all are kind of past the point of being able to do some of those smaller gigs. So even some of that just kind of is excluded. So yeah, I can imagine not being able to play anything.
Yeah, I honestly would have been all right with if we would have just piled in the van and done some shows. But I say that, but I don't know if I would actually. I think we'd probably all kill each other if we had to be cramped.
Yeah, I get it. Well, tell me how you got started in music and like how all that worked with, just how you got started in music personally, and then how you got hooked up with Koe and everything, and how that worked.
Started playing guitar when I was like 14. My uncle Alan taught me how to play something he called like the guitar boogie. It's like that blues blues shuffle, and like the main riff to 25 or 6 to 4 by Chicago. And then I took it and ran. And like that week that I was on vacation at his house, I learned like 2 or 3 different songs. So he's like, dude, you need to just take this guitar with you. And he let me take his telly and his amp home.
That's awesome.
And then pretty much learned everything. Started out learning by ear. When I liked a song, I would just play it over and over again and then try and play along with it. I joined the praise band at my youth group when I was like, I think that was my sophomore year of high school. So I've been playing for like 2 years. So it was terrible, of course.
Yeah, we all were during those days, right?
Not good at all. But yeah, then I went off to college at Tarleton State and started playing like some open mics and some acoustic shows. And then actually had a buddy, my best friend Kevin, he bet me like $50 that I wouldn't go up to the stage and ask if I could play some acoustic songs after this band. And the guy was like, well, if you play guitars, like come back after the show, and we need a rhythm guitar player, so we'll try you out. That was the start of being with Clint Levi band. We made it about 2 years, and then broke up he had some family stuff going on. But actually, before that ended, Mason Morris joined on bass. So that's how cool. me and Mason toured with each other for a couple years or a year or so. And then Koe actually came and opened up acoustic for us one night in San Angelo. And Mason and I were both like, dude, if this ever goes south, like we're definitely making the move to this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Lo and behold, like literally a month or two later, we broke up, and I kind of gigged around for a little bit, played with a few different bands, and Mason went straight over. But it's kind of crazy to see how everything built. Like the career with Clint Levi band was over the same weekend. Let's see. My first weekend on the road with them was the beginning of the end, basically. Some stuff that happened that night ended up being what killed the band at the
Gotcha.
years later. But if I never would have been with them, never would have met Mason, never would have met Koe.
Yeah.
You know, it's really crazy. I tried out for a metal band and didn't get along with the other guitar player. And I was so bummed. That was like my sophomore year of college. So like, man, I blew it.
Yeah.
This is my chance to be in a band. If I would have made it in that band, that I never would have met Clint, never would have met Mason, never would have met Koe. So
it's interesting you say that, because I can definitely relate with this. I've been in a couple bands, but how important is it for you guys, the band chemistry? Like you said, you didn't get along with the other guitar player. I don't know if people realize how vital that is, not just a group of good instrumentalists, but a group of friends that actually get along and want to hang out, you know. How is that with you guys?
I would say it is a lot easier to be a terrible musician but a good hang and stick with the band. You can be the best player in the world, but if you don't mesh, you're in way too small of an area with these people for way too many days out of the week. It's not going to last.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there's a couple of guys that's like, they're not the greatest in the world, but I mean, they're easy to get along with. And I mean, I really think that band dynamic, being able to get along is more important than being the absolute best musician, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. How did most of the writing work with y'all? Like, is it something that you'd mentioned y'all are in the studio right now? Most of the Texas country red dirt scene knows you guys got a album coming out after Koe tweeted about it. So with all that you guys have been working out, how does most of the writing work with you guys? Do you go in kind of together and write kind of y'all have a sound in mind? Is it lyrics? How does it vary? How does that kind of work with you guys?
It's a little bit different. It started out like when we were all living in Stephenville, we would get together and just jam. And like play different chord progressions. And like this one time me and our drummer were jamming, I don't know if you've heard of Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. Mm-hmm. The Southern metal band. But I was jamming one of their songs, and Koe comes up. He's like, dude, play that again. I got some lyrics for it. I'm like, well, hold on. I've got to switch some stuff around, but I can do something along the lines, So, and then that's how Fuss and Fight happened.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, just get together and jam, and then Koe's like, all right, cool, I can spit some to this, Mm-hmm. But lately, since we've been so spread out, it has been Koe just sends us something. He's like, hey, write something cool to this, Mm-hmm. So a little bit more spread out now, but at least we've had more time to like focus on this one,
Yeah. Well, I was honestly surprised y'all with the delay there. I shouldn't say delay, the gaps between records early on. I was really surprised of how soon got something coming out, especially after just signed with the label. Congratulations, by the way. But after just doing that, I was like, man, I'm expecting like maybe another year, something like that. But then it was single, hey, we're about to drop an album on your head. I was like, what? It was just nuts.
That goes to show how, there's a reason why major bands take time off touring.
Yeah.
We've never had time set aside for writing. It all just kind of happens organically, or we get into the studio and we have like some ideas, and then you kind of have to push it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is the first time that we've ever not had anything to do except go to the studio.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I think that everybody's definitely excited about that. I know it's going to be great. That's cool. I always wonder kind of how the writing worked for y'all, if it was something that because that's most bands that I know. I mean, whoever plays that instrument kind of writes that part, or you know, sometimes I have session guys come in. Most of you guys play the session work too, though, huh? Yeah.
Jared Easterling, the new drummer, he played for Fit for a King, still does, but him and our producer Kimball have been playing drums, I think since Noise Complaint.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's been me, Mason, and Koe from then on, and then I think Shiloh joined us for Harold Saw High. So
okay, awesome. What would you say that is like of the songs that you guys play live? Which one is your favorite song to play? I mean, not that y'all have written, but just a fun song that you like to play.
Fuss and Fight.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
Yeah, it's where I get to let my my metalhead side show. So
yeah, I get it. My girlfriend and I went to Austin last year for the Coke Fest, and saw y'all there, and that was her first concert, or first concert, and whenever that song came on, I was like, you could feel the entire atmosphere in the whole place change. You know, I mean, everybody's jamming, but when that song comes on, you can just yeah, it's crazy, man. I will say before I move on it, because I was going to ask you this and forgot to write it down. As far as, because I know most of y'all shows are pretty wild. Yeah. The wildest concert I've ever been to, I was working out in Midland, Odessa, and you guys came to, what was the name of this bar? It was something, Dose something. But it was,
oh my gosh.
It was like a music venue, like a big music venue on the side of the main road right there going to Odessa.
Is it Dos Amigos?
It's something like that. Dos something. Anyways, so I was right by the stage for that show. I think y'all came with Chris and somebody else, I think, opened for Chris. I don't remember. But anyways, but during the show, once came out, I was like, I mean, there was fight after fight after fight. I mean, like 8 or 9 fights. I'm thinking, what the heck, man? I mean, beer going everywhere. You know, it was just nuts. And so I went up to one of the security guards. I'm like, bro, are y'all gonna like break up any of these? And he's like, man, everybody's working from out of town. There ain't nothing we can do. I said, well, Midland, Odessa, Koe Wetzel's the wildest show I'll ever go to. That's for sure. But no, I said, I wonder how many of those shows are kind of, you know, geared that way. I know it gets a lot rockier, which is also, I think that's one of the big draws, you know. I mean, people just love that sound. I think it's great, man. So what's life on the road like for y'all? Obviously not these days, but whenever y'all are on the road, kind of what does that look like for y'all?
Well, we typically are still like weekend warriors. We don't really do like the 30-day, 60-day runs. It's pretty much every weekend. And then once a month or once every other month, we'll do a 2 or 3 week run. But actually, now that we're with Columbia, I have no idea how this is going to go in the future. But normally it's been a consistent thing for all of us since like 2013. Actually, I mean, when we got together, or when me, Mason, and Koe all got together. But it's been a slow decline in the number of shows, which is nice. You know, I mean, being able to have somewhat of a home life, going almost 200 shows a year. Now it's a lot more manageable. So I'm interested to see how this next year is going to be. We might have to kind of bite the bullet and start hammering them out again, but I'm chomping at the bit, man. I'm ready.
Yeah. But I get it, man. Well, I'm excited for y'all. I'm ready for y'all. I'm ready for everybody to get back on the road. I mean, you know, I don't know what it's like in other areas. I'm from Louisiana, so in the Shreveport area. And for us right now, it's nuts. I mean, it's illegal to play indoors anywhere right now, you know, in Louisiana. So it's just crazy. I know Texas is opening up a little bit, but yeah, I'm definitely ready to get some stuff back going for sure. What do y'all do in your free time whenever you're on the road? So, I mean, like if y'all got space between shows or prepping, y'all get to hang out and do some fun stuff?
Yeah, if there's any like days off, we've done some cool stuff. Like when we were in California, we went to Yosemite, doing a little hiking. There's been some fishing trips and hunting trips, stuff like that. But most of the time, when we have a dead day, we're sacked out, you know.
Yeah.
But like before shows, we're like, well, full day. Like I'll wake up, make some coffee, go do sound check, and then I'll go work out at the hotel, and then hit up a coffee shop or something like that. And usually Mason or Shiloh tags along, and then I like to go explore.
Yeah.
A couple of the other guys will just go straight to whatever bar closest. That just when we're in bars every single day, I want to go see something different, you know. So
I want to smell something other than cigarette smoke for a little while.
Right, like cigar smoke. I will say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool, dude. Well, tell me about your new single, because you got some stuff coming out. You got a single out now, and you got more stuff you're about to start working on, right?
Yes, yeah, it's all written. For the most part, I mean, I'm constantly writing, but I think I'm probably going to end up doing a 5-song EP first, and then another single, and then another 5-song EP. As much as I've already got it mapped out, I would love to do a concept album. Feel like marketability of a full-length album for somebody's for a name like Odis P, you know, that's you got to give people what they can digest a little bit easier, you know. Yeah. There's a lot of songs that go unnoticed in a full-length album if you're not huge, you know.
Yeah. Well, I will say that to credit to you guys, I feel like there's not – I don't know of anyone else in the Texas country or red dirt scene that puts an entire album together as good as you guys, where between the, you know, the funny bits or whatever throughout the album. But I think that just the way that the songs flow into the next one, I mean, like even Harold Saw High, the way kind of end it with the little announcement deal into Sancho at the end. So, I mean, like the whole thing just flows and makes sense. I love records like that, and like full albums that make you listen to the whole thing, and the whole thing makes sense. You know, it doesn't feel thrown together. It feels intentional, and like somebody put a ton of work into it. So kudos to y'all on that. And I think that that's one of the things that I look forward to in you guys' albums is that. And so I understand kind of what you're saying though, with a new kid on the block, if you want to call it that, you know, even though you've been in the scene, but with your brand and everything, kind of building up to that, I can definitely understand. But I'm with you. I think that would be a awesome deal to kind of drop a full album. But maybe that's some of the artists and people like us just like, you know, want to do that.
It is. I mean, I've noticed that most of what I do is totally a romantic relationship with the idea of being a musician. Like some of the rooms we've played, like my Marshall half stack has no use whatsoever. But there's just something about, since I was 14 years old, I wanted a Gibson Les Paul and a Marshall half stack sitting behind me. And honestly, I mean, that's totally a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
But
has no place in Green Hall, but it's still going to be there. You know.
Well, I remember I've noticed that at Steamboat Music Fest, you know, there's the Red Dirt scene has moved to a lot more American, like Fender. Like I saw a lot of Blues Juniors. So I was carrying in my half stack, and I hear this guy like kind of off to the side going, "What the hell is that for?"
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Say, don't worry about it. Just watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You'll feel it. Don't worry.
Yeah. So, and I guess it had to have been a little while before you had to start mic and amps on your side. It was just blowing everything out at the little, you know, smaller bars when you were starting. But oh man, well, what inspires you as a writer? So for your projects and stuff, obviously we talked earlier about kind of when you're writing music with Koe and everything, but whenever you're writing music for your stuff, kind of what is it, something that you just have kind of a concept that you're intentional about, that you want to put together a more marketable song, and just kind of wait for inspiration? How do you typically write for your stuff?
A little bit of both. Like when I've got an idea, if I have an idea that I think would be cool to write about, then I'll get intentional about trying to put words down. But most of the time, I tend to kind of wait for inspiration, and then if I'm stuck, like I'll if I think about a line or think about an idea, I'll write it down in a note. And most of the time, I can develop that idea just from itself. But if I ever get like writer's block or whatever, then I'll kind of go through and just read as many of them as I can, and then I'll be like, wait, that one kind of goes here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Kind of flip flop them.
Do you ever do any writing, like for me, and I was talking to a friend of mine that's a writer as well, talking about singing into their phone whenever they're riding down the road or whatever, always got their phone handy. I didn't know how many people do that. Like I knew I wasn't alone in doing that, but I listened to some ad that Cody Jinks had running the other day, talking about when he was writing Loud and Heavy. And he was saying about how he, did you hear this story? He's talking about how he took his son to Tractor Supply, and he said the bottom just fell out of the sky. Like, I mean, it was just completely pouring rain. And he said, I turned around and told my 2-year-old son, and I said, "Bud, that's some loud thunder and some heavy rain." And he said, "You know how kids will do." He said, "Loud thunder, heavy rain, loud thunder, heavy rain." And so I just started like grabbing from my phone. So I grabbed it and went, "Loud thunder, heavy rain," and hit end. And he said, and that was it. He said, I went back like 2 days later. Well, then he put his son as a co-writer on the song, and like has some stuff set up where all the credits like go to his son and stuff. So I thought that was dope. You know, I was like, that's cool. Dad of the year right there. So no, but yeah, I think that's awesome, man. I think that always being ready. And then how much rewriting do you do? Because I feel like that's a tough thing in my world, and for a lot of new songwriters, is going back to something that I heard Koe say one time, that whenever they were writing, I think it was Austin, maybe? No, Ragweed, I think is what it was. He said that he wrote that like before Austin, but it wasn't quite ready. It wasn't the way that he wanted. So explain to me a little bit about what the rewrite scene looks like for y'all and for you.
Well, we've actually got one on the new Koe record that we started jamming like back before we released Noise Complaint. But all he had was like a first verse, and that was it. Like a pretty cool chord progression. But I mean, what was that, 5 years ago? When we would have been jamming this, and every now and then kind of hit it in a sound check or whatever. But other than that, once he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna put this on the album." I was like, "What is that?" He's like, "Oh, you know that one." And once I heard it, I was like, "Dude, like blast from the past."
Yeah.
And honestly, it's probably my favorite that at least in my top 5 of songs that he's written. So,
well, that's awesome. I think that's cool. People don't, when artists don't give up on something, they know something's going to be a good idea. When do you feel like you know that a song is done? Like, I mean, do you ever really know it's like, all right, this is complete?
I will change a song until, like, actually, did you see the video of me playing acoustic Take Me Home?
Yes.
That was how that song has been since I wrote it up until like probably a month before I went into the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, man, I just don't feel like anything else that I have is this vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it to have, I want everything else that I'm putting out to have a different vibe than that, really, you know, a little bit more rock, a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah.
So I started kind of fooling around with different time signatures and stuff like that, and different strum patterns, and finally settled on one that I thought was a good compromise. Like, still kind of feel the original energy of the song, but kind of blends with everything else that's coming out in the future. Yeah, I'll change a song up until it's recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, that's half the fun to me, is in the studio when you record a part. Was Tyler Thompson is who I'm doing my is Chris Colston's drummer.
Okay.
Kings Creek Productions. I'm recording my stuff with him. And him and Taylor Kimball that Koe records with. Mm-hmm. Both of those guys are just fantastic about being brutally honest about, like, man, that's a cool part, but it could be cooler.
Yeah.
Or both of them are really good at going, oh man, this would be really cool here, and then it's just one little rest or one little snare hit that's different. Mm-hmm. Just changes the dynamic of the song, you know. So I really think part of the funnest thing about the recording process is watching a song develop from what you intended it to be, and then like watching it naturally kind of grow.
Absolutely. You know? I think that people undervalue producers. Like, whenever you look at the whenever you look at who was responsible for making a record, everybody just wants to look at the big name or maybe the instrumentalist or whatever. But man, how the influence that a producer has. I got to hang out with Trent Willman a good bit. Cody Johnson worked a lot with him, and last time I was in College Station, and brilliant guy, but just a super nice guy. And I mean, I feel like that a lot of people just don't understand the value or the role that those guys have in taking a song from just a concept and an idea to what is radio ready, or what's, you know, ready to be streamed.
One of the biggest I think one of the most vital roles that a producer plays is knowing what not to let happen. You know, mm-hmm. You could sit there and put like, oh, this sounds cool here, and this sounds cool here, and we're gonna do a rest here and a crash here, and then sometimes the best thing is for them to go, you've done that 15 times already.
Yeah, you know? Yeah.
Or like, I think this song is going somewhere else. It's really good to have some fresh ears mm-hmm. that doesn't know, like when we're doing something collectively, like jamming something, like before a sound check or whatever, we've all played with each other for so long that we can kind of feel each other out. And mm-hmm. We had a steel guitar player for a long, Bobby Texas. He played with us for a long time, and me and him would end up improvising the exact same riff at the exact same time. And it's like sometimes you just need somebody else to come in with new ears, doesn't have the same progression that mm-hmm. everybody else does, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
That's one of the coolest things about being a producer is not being in the band and hearing this for the first time and saying, this is where we need to go.
And somebody who can be unbiased and just be like, hey man, this kind of sucks. We need to go a different route here, you know, or whatever. Yeah. Just doing that. Well, cool. So you obviously spend a lot of time on the road. We talked kind of through a lot of that, but most people know, and I put a deal on Facebook trying to get some questions that maybe fans of the band or fans of yours that we want to know. And I got a bunch of fun ones, which I'll get a couple of those in a minute. But one of the things that I knew, but one of the people had mentioned, said, well, you know, he's very serious about his faith. He's a good Christian guy. I want to know more about that. So obviously that's one of the things I told you when we were talking before is I wanted to discuss, but when did that become part of your life? When did you become a Christian, and how did all that begin in your life?
My dad was actually I've gone to church since I was a kid. You know, little kid singing the B-I-B-L-E and Jesus loves me.
Yeah.
I mean, so my dad surrendered to the ministry when I was maybe before I was born, or a year or two after. We moved to Brownwood so he could go to to Howard Payne University to get his bachelor. And while we were there, he pastored a little church, like Avenue D Baptist or something like that. But I remember being at the church. We lived in a parsonage next door to the church, so like literally every day you're connected to that church, you know. Yeah. So I was 7 when I became a Christian, and my dad baptized me. And then when we moved to Granbury, Texas, so that he could go to Southwestern Theological Seminary.
Yeah, great school.
Yeah. So then we kind of got plugged into a church there. And that's kind of where I got to develop my own faith, you know, got plugged into youth group and started playing in the praise team and everything like that. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it's just always been a pretty big part of my life.
That's awesome, man. How does, with being on the road, it obviously as much as y'all schedule whenever you're blowing and going is non-COVID life is, how do you manage making intentional time to grow in your faith and just being intentional about that? What kind of things do you do to be intentional? Because we're all busy. We may not be rock stars and have the, you know, busy life, but I think that everybody could learn from somebody that has the schedule that you guys have, and you're still able to be intentional about that. How do you go about that and navigate it?
Honestly, the biggest part of it, for the majority of it, I've been extremely lazy. You know, I haven't done what I should have done. But when I got married, actually when I started dating my wife, it just really kind of snapped me into like, hey, you've got to get serious, you know? Yeah. So honestly, like just when I wake up in the morning, I want to encourage her. So I'll send her, I'll read something in scripture and send it to her, or read a devotional. We try to do some stuff, even when we're apart, like we'll try and do the same devotionals and stuff like that. Let's see what else. I've tried to go to a couple different churches, but that actually has only worked out a few times. Normally Sundays are travel days. But yeah, most of the time it's trying to find time to be alone, which isn't that hard. Once you're not in a van.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the van days.
There's no I'm alone when you're in a van. But yeah, that's pretty much. I try to stay plugged into a church at home as much as I can. When I was in Stephenville, I got plugged into the college ministry. And even when I graduated college, the pastor let me come play for college night, because it was like Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember, but I mean, I was normally home on Wednesdays. So he's like, yeah, even though you're not in college, you're still close enough to the age and you can come play guitar, you know, so at least you're getting plugged in somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
That church family, Timber Ridge, like, man, helped me stay grounded a ton. So
that's vital, man. And that was actually one of the next things I was going to ask you, is kind of how you are able to stay connected, because I know that playing Friday, Saturday nights, I mean, Sunday, it's Sunday 3 a.m. getting done, wrapping up, you know, heading out of town from wherever you're at. I don't know if you did like the live stream, because I know with today digital world we're in, it's so easy to be able to say, okay, well, cool, now I can jump on a live stream, where the generation before us didn't have that option. So I think that's awesome. But it's also, you have a church family that, you know, supports you in everything that you're doing and everything. I mean, that's so crucial, man. I mean, having that base to go back to, somebody that you trust and can talk to. And it's awesome that your wife is able to be that kind of accountability for you, of, you know, you guys talking through all of it with each other. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's key, is just having that anchor person, you know, to go back to and everything.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Let me ask you a couple of these Facebook questions. I know one, some girl named Mia wanted to know how you got such a cool wife. I don't know what all she also asked if you would go grocery shopping, I think, but
I bet what's fun, we just scrounged like we found 2 cans of soup. Like, we haven't waited too long. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, she said, yeah, so I've just been lazy, hadn't been grocery shopping yet. I've got a bunch of questions about your hair, wanting to know what kind of conditioner you use, things of that nature. I figured I'd ask you some of that.
That is a very, very big secret.
Okay, so unofficially, like the Fabio of Red Dirt Music. I don't know what all that's about.
No, it's mane and tail.
Mane and tail.
Yeah, use that. And then other than that, I don't touch it. I don't put hairspray on it. I use some like keratin stuff to keep it from like getting super frizzy.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's waiting as long as possible to wash it, letting your hair kind of naturally do its thing. Don't blow it.
Don't even touch it. What show was it?
And
there was some show, I can't remember, as a kid. It was like one of like the High School Musical type deals, one of those like Disney shows. Guy was asked, he had a big flowing locks, like, said, my secret is when they say wash, rinse, and repeat, he's like, I don't repeat. That's the whole deal. That's all it sounds like.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
Just don't mess with it.
I rodeoed a lot growing up, and went and got a lot of mane and tail from the feed store. Do you buy hair products from the feed store, or do they sell that like at Walmart?
They sell it at Walmart.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I do need it. It's probably more readily available at the feed store.
Yeah, if you go to like a Tractor Supply or any feed store, they're gonna have it. I can promise you that. You'd mentioned about being a big metal fan. What's some of your favorite bands outside of country music?
Ooh, honestly, let's see. Like Maylene and the Sons of Disaster was started by Dallas Taylor from Under Oath. It's like really dirty Southern metal. Lots of like heavy blues licks. Lots of Southern twang. So that's where I get a lot of inspiration from. I like J. Roddy Walston and The Business. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're another kind of like Southern band. Just good old American rock. Honestly, I started playing guitar because my dad used to listen to classic rock all the time, so I fell in love with Boston. One of my favorites, Boston, Eagles, all the greats, Ozzy. And then a little bit later, I started getting into like Metallica, and then that moved over to like Bless the Fall and We Came as Romans, like Fit for a King, kind of some like hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly classic rock, and I like Switchfoot a lot.
Yeah.
Used to listen to Switchfoot a ton.
I don't think you can be in a praise band and not listen to Reliant K and Switchfoot. Like, it's like a precursor to being in the praise band.
I will say, and I've musically, from a musician standpoint, I've like been able to what am I trying to say? Reassure this, but when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to listen to anything. So my dad was a Baptist preacher.
I'm glad I'm not alone. My dad was the same way.
Okay, the John Christ.
Comedian? That
like
was
he does
my life.
All of the TV shows that Christian kids couldn't listen or couldn't watch.
Yep.
Yeah, those were pretty much all me.
When I was growing up, I could listen to the gospel versions of the Randy Travis and Alan Jackson records, but I couldn't listen to I never heard a George Strait song until I was old enough to drive. Like,
thinking,
yeah, that's the devil. I mean, I never watched, a Harry Potter movie. Pokemon was the devil. Like, I mean, all this stuff, like, that was, my dad was a Baptist preacher too. He's an evangelist. So we stayed on the road. We lived in a 45-foot tour bus. We traveled all over. I mean, he was a Louisiana Baptist evangelist, but we traveled all over the country. So he was gone 48 weeks a year preaching Sunday through Wednesday. So I was homeschooled my entire life, and I played music at his revival. So I would go Sunday morning through Wednesday, do school in the bus all day, and then lead worship that night, And so I did that from the time I was 13 until I went to William Carey as a vocal performance major in 19 and led worship in churches after that. So, but yeah, I 100% get it. My dad was the same way. In fact, me and my girlfriend were talking a few months ago. Her dad's a preacher as well. And it was so funny how we grew up just so similar. She was talking about, she may kill me for telling the story, but when she was a kid, she tried to sneak and buy an Usher record whenever like Usher came out. Like she went into Walmart to buy this Usher album, and her mom was in the car and she didn't know what she had got or anything. So she went and got this Usher CD and just kind of had it, parked to the side right there. And mom asked her, "What you got over there?" "Oh, nothing. Just, just had to go in there, get some stuff." And she made her go do the walk of shame, go back in and return it and everything. I said, that was my life. I remember my mom crashing a Linkin Park record on the side of I-20 one time whenever my brother put it in the CD player. So it's, I totally get it. I totally get it, man.
All that to say, DC Talk is probably still my favorite band.
Yeah.
I listened to, again, that was like my first taste. That and old school, like the first 3 albums that Third Day put out are straight up Southern rock.
100%.
Their later stuff has gotten a little, I guess that happens as you get bigger. But their stuff when they were like in the early 90s was
Mac
awesome.
Powell is as Southern rock, raw country as it gets whenever he wants to be. Like, their early stuff was amazing. But they're like the Offering record and stuff like that.
And like there's some stuff that sounds like it came out of the Seattle grunge scene.
Yeah.
Musically, like, I mean, one of the cliches is just that Christian music is not very good.
Yeah, second tier almost. Yeah.
Most of it, I agree.
Yeah.
But that's still why I today DC Talk is still DC Talk and Third Day are two of my favorites because of those big influencers back in like 90, 93, 94, 95. That
I
time.
100% respect people in the Christian scene that can hang with anyone in mainstream media. Like right now in the rap scene, like you have NF, who is like killing it in mainstream music as a rapper. He's unbelievable, but still has good Christian fundamentals in his songs. You know, you talked about like Third Day, even in the rock scene back in the Reliant K, like Switchfoot days, stuff like that. Whenever those guys were, I mean, they were holding neck and neck with anybody in even the rock scene during that time. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm not asking you to answer this, but I was asked by Miss Gilmore who your favorite bandmate was. So I told her that it's probably going to look like a setup if I start asking you all these questions. Paul asked, what's your favorite southeastern Oklahoma venue, specifically in Durant, was?
Oh,
by Paul Steen.
That is hands down one of the best places, not just in Oklahoma, but in the world. Bubba's Brewhouse. Definitely.
That's awesome. I'm not super familiar with there, but I love Durant. Like, I think Durant's a cool area, so I'm going to have to go. One of my buddies, Jordan Nix, I just saw he's about to open for Tanner out there, and they got a show coming up. And I said, well, that's like the second or third time I heard about this place in a few days. So I said, well, dang, I'm going to have to go check it out.
And the Bubba's Brewhouse people are good people.
That's awesome. So if y'all in Durant, go by, check it out. Well, cool, man. That's bulk of it. I'll finish with a funny one. What is your favorite cereal?
Peanut butter Cap'n Crunch.
Ooh, that's a classic.
Yeah.
That and some Cinnamon Toast Crunch are hard to beat, in my opinion. Well, cool, dude. Well, dude, I appreciate so much taking the time to visit and to promote everything. If you want, let us know where you can find your music. Everybody knows where you can find Koe's stuff on Spotify and Apple Music and all that. What's like some of the socials for your stuff and your music page?
You can find the music anywhere. Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Amazon. I went through what's it called? DistroKid, saying they send it out to everything. So Odis _KWK is my tag. OdisPmusic.com. I'm in the process of getting my merch store linked up to that page, but been working with Fresh Baked in Waco.
Oh, cool.
Jack Schrader can hook it up, especially from an artist standpoint. He's got a very good system for artists.
Well, cool. And we'll tag links to everything in all of our social stuff, but people who listen on podcasts, I want them to be able to find out where you're at and everything and all that. But Odis with a D. ODIS,
yes.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dude, I appreciate it again, and look forward to what y'all got coming down the road and what you got coming down the road, man. I know it's going to be great, and I'll be looking forward to catching a show whenever we're able to have one to catch, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, looking like I think there's a couple for the end of the year, but not much. It's pretty much just wait and resume in 2021. So
yeah. Well, cool, dude. Well, I'll stay in touch with you whenever we're able to get out to one. I'll let you know. We'll get out and say hello.
Sounds great.
All right, brother. Appreciate you again, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.